Hi friends. Tonight I'm going to show you how to make a salad niçoise. Now, a niçoise salad is a really old recipe. It originally came from France and it hit the United States in the 20s. So you will see thousands of versions of this on the web because it has been around forever. The original recipe called for tomatoes, hard-boiled eggs, olives, and tuna or anchovies. But through the years, people have added lots of stuff to it. Green beans, potatoes, cucumbers, lettuce. I've seen lots of things in this salad. I'm a big fan of doing whatever the hell I want, so I will show you how I make mine. The beauty of this salad is that you're really only cooking three things. This is Shrek, my steamer, because he's got these little ears. So what I usually do in here is I put the green beans and the potatoes in, and I start checking them at about 10 minutes because they take anywhere from 11 to 18 minutes, and you just check them individually. What you're going to want to look for with the green beans is you're going to want to look for them to turn bright green and be what they call al dente, meaning they still have a little bit of texture in them. They're not total mush, but they're thoroughly cooked. And you really want them to be thoroughly cooked because the salad is mostly served either room temperature or chilled, and so green beans that are hard to eat would be pretty gross. When you get done steaming them, which takes about 11 or 12 minutes, you want to plunge them into an ice cold bath because that will stop the cooking, and it'll also set the color, and that's why they look like this bright, pretty green that they are. For the potatoes, you can use pretty much any potatoes you want. I often use little baby potatoes. These fingerlings were at Trader Joe's, and so my roommate brought me these because she was like, oh, you asked for small potatoes. You can use any potato you want, especially now, it's a pandemic. I don't care what kind of potatoes you have, you can use whatever you want. I steam these till they're also thoroughly cooked. And if they're really big, you can cut them, but I generally don't if they're this small. And then the other thing you'll be cooking is boiled eggs. The way I do my eggs is I put them in cold water, bring them up to a boil, put the lid on, shove them in the back off the heat, leave them for 20 minutes, and then shock them in cold water and open them up. However, a bunch of my friends were telling me on Facebook that using an electric pressure cooker is really fun for boiled eggs, so I'm definitely going to try that next time because I have one. So that's pretty much it. The rest of it is you take stuff out of your fridge, you open cans, whatever you got laying around. And so the big trick to this, of course, is the dressing, and that's what I want to show you how to make tonight. So this dressing is a vinaigrette. Vinaigrettes are almost always 3 parts oil and 1 part acid. And the reason I don't say vinegar is because it can be any kind of acid. It can be vinegar, it can be lemon juice, it can be anything that you want to put in here. I've also seen different proportions. I've seen half and half. I've seen 4 parts oil and 1 part vinegar. I usually do stay pretty close to the 3 to 1, and even sometimes add in a little more vinegar for a little bit of bite. So in this dressing, you're going to want a pretty neutral but good quality oil, and this is an avocado oil, but you can use an olive oil if it's not too strong. And so I put that in there. And then the other thing that you're going to want to do is put your vinegar in. So that was 3/4 cup of oil. This is a 1/4 cup of vinegar. And then what I did earlier was I started to juice some lemons with my reamer. I have a hardwood lemon reamer, which I really like, citrus reamer. And I just put it in one of these strainers so that I can get the seeds out. Now, the reason I'm putting more lemon juice in here than it would normally call for in terms of the acid is because one of the things that you're going to be adding in here is anchovies, which also has a little bit of oil to it, and also the oil from the tuna. So I like to use olive oil packed tuna for this recipe. And one of the things that I like to do is go ahead and drain the tuna into here. That gives you a little bit more oil and also doesn't waste it. And what's funny about that is if you go to a fancy restaurant, whenever they bring you this salad, they're usually using like a seared tuna, and that's what fancy people use. But you know, the original salad actually was canned tuna, so you're right in the pocket if you like canned tuna, because I really like it. Not a big fish fan. And speaking of not being a big fish fan, I know you're going to fight me on this anchovy thing if you're not a fan of fish. I think they are disgusting. but they are amazing in this dressing. So I implore you not to skip the anchovies in this dressing because it makes a huge difference, and you can't taste them. It just gives them a nice round flavor on the bottom. Okay, so after you get your oil and vinegar in there, I would like to put a couple of cloves of garlic, and that's usually 2, 4, I meant 4, 5. I really, really like garlic. And you're going to use about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but you know, generally with dressings, use salt and pepper to taste. Isn't that fancy? Fresh ground pepper like that? Yeah. So vinaigrette can be, after you get your oil and vinegar in there, salt and pepper. Then after that, you can put anything in it, herbs in it, herbs from your garden, and it's really easy. It's fast and easy. So this is actually fresh dill. I love it in this dressing. And what I do is I buy one of those little packages from the store, one of those little square packages, and then I rip all the little fronds off, and then I put it in here. I think it's gives this dressing a nice herbal flavor. And then you're going to want to put about 3 or 4 anchovy fillets. If the other reason why you're hesitating to buy anchovies is because you don't know what to do with the rest of them, they're healthy for dogs. So Eldon, you know, I spend almost all my time in the kitchen stepping over him. Eldon, you want one of these? Here. Oh my God, you're gonna need a bigger boat. Oh, he's almost took my hand off. He loves that stuff. Of course, Eldon loves anything. He's a big fan of food. All right, so you've got your tuna olive oil in here. You've got your regular olive oil in here. You've got your vinegar in here. You've got a little lemon juice in here, a little salt and pepper. And then I would also add just a little dollop of Dijon mustard. This is good for emulsification. So what they mean by emulsifying is just, you know, making the vinegar and the oil become one thing. That's all it really means. So I usually do this in a blender, but I was told that you're not supposed to do your dressings in a blender because I guess it overmixes them. And so I was reading on the internet, it said, oh, you should really use the immersion blender. So this is my gadget corner this time. This is my immersion blender. This is a Cuisinart. I love this thing. What this is really good for is when you're making a soup and you want to just stir a hot soup or bring it together, like if you're making beans and you want to make it thicker, or you're trying to blend things in a soup. Every time I see somebody take a pot of soup and put it in a blender on TV, I just want to scream at the TV, because this is way, way safer if you're going to blend a soup or partially blend a soup to give it body, because you can just stick that in here. Frankly, I have actually never used it to make salad dressing before, so let's see what happens. This should be interesting. Oh yeah, that works really good. Holy shit. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to. Actually, that's really nice. I'm really surprised by that. Uh-oh. I don't know if they're upset by the blender or if somebody's at the door. Wow. That actually worked great. Do I seem surprised? Because I am surprised. All right, I'm going to take this over here. Now, I'm going to taste this. And if you're making food for other people, be sure to have clean tasting spoons so that it's sanitary in case you want to add salt and pepper to this. Oh, that's really good. Beautiful. What I usually do with this is I put it in a little pitcher, and I don't dress the salad because everybody likes their salad a little bit different. That's it. That's all you have to do. So then the fun part is putting it all together. So you'll just stick your tuna in here. You don't have to do it like I do it. Do it however you want to do it. I'm using a big long platter, which is the kind I usually take to people's houses when I was allowed to go to people's houses. But you can also use a cookie sheet, or any kind of big plate or platter works. So you're just going to bunch up your tuna there in the middle, like that. And then you're going to want to put some lettuce or spinach down if you're using it. I like to use spinach. That is very much not a tradition in the salad, but I kind of like to give the salad a little bit of base. And so put that down in there, and then just play with the colors. So tuna's in the middle, so I can put some eggs around it like that. And then I have some red and yellow peppers I'll put in there for color. And just put that around on each side. And then I have these beautiful asparagus that my neighbor, Audrey, she knows who she is. Sorry, Audrey. These are fantastic. They're pickled. They've got garlic in them. They are so fantastic. I love them so much. And I appreciated her dropping them by. So I'm going to put some of those in there. And then the famous olives. Most people don't have Nicoise olives laying around the house. Just use whatever olives you want. Really, it's not a big deal. So just put some of these around here. There you go. Oh, by the way, I promised I would put up a website for you guys. I was working on it last night. It is almost ready. Okay. And then you're going to want some of your potatoes in here. And like I said, you can cut them if you think they're too big. I usually don't worry about it. I always serve this salad with tongs so people can pick through it. And if you have a friend who's coming over who's vegan, this is a great thing to serve. I would just give them a little bit different, more simple of a vinaigrette and put the tuna in a separate container, a separate serving piece. And that way, if your friends are vegan, they have something really cool to eat too, and they can eat with everybody else. And then you could do artichoke hearts. Most people cut these, but they kind of look like roses to me. So sometimes I just leave them like that because I think they're really, really pretty. Just like that. So I'm going to shove those in there. All right. And then for color, some little tomatoes. There we go. All right. So, and then the green beans, which I love. This is part of my favorite part of this salad is the green beans. So just put one on each side. Okay. So when you're done putting that together, I usually go ahead and put a little bit of lemon over the tuna just to freshen it up because it's been sitting in a can. And then I put heroin and cocaine on the eggs. Isn't that funny? Salt and pepper shakers. Brad got me heroin and cocaine. It cracks me up. Just pepper those and salt them a little bit so that they're a little bit more seasoned. And then I usually reserve just a little bit of the dill fronds to put down on the egg to decorate them so that you have something really nice against that pale color. And put a little bit of dill on the tuna, and then put a little bit of pepper on the tuna. And that's it. That's a salad Nicoise. You put this bad boy in a pitcher, fantastic. So I will be putting this recipe up. The reason I didn't give you a website for it is because this is something I've been playing with for a long time, so it didn't come off of anybody else's website. I'll be putting a recipe up for this, and that's what it looks like. So if you're feeding a big family, or the next time you're allowed to have a party, this is a great thing to bring. It's also good because you can serve at room temperature. You don't have as many food safety issues, or it's slightly chilled. So anyway, that's it. That's the salad Nicoise. This is a short one because we didn't cook a whole lot of stuff. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by my kitchen. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.